Hey guys, I want to make a quick video going over some of the massive, winners of the patch. What are some things that got really buffed in this patch and something to look forward to in the next league. So I made a small notepad here, of course. But yeah, 6 pretty big winners for the patch notes, at least in my opinion. I think the first one is Pathfinder. And Pathfinder is personally someone I'm thinking of playing this league. Maybe not league start, but like second build type of deal. Yeah, Pathfinder got massively buffed, and also because of like new runes in the game, it's even getting better this patch. So what happened to Pathfinder? So I'll just go to changes real quick. Pathfinder essentially had 2 of the bad travel sensitive nodes removed. It now has Run Assault, now also grants cannot be heavy stun while sprinting. That is this node over here. So you get the less move speed penalty while using skills, and you cannot be knocked down while sprinting. That's very, very, very strong. Has a new Ascendancy node that allows you to start from Warrior or from Sorceress, which makes Pathfinder extremely versatile. That means you can literally do anything on Pathfinder. You can just play like a full-on like melee shield slam warrior build because you can start from warrior while also getting some really good, ranger nodes like movement speed or attack speed and stuff, right? Makes it very, very strong and extremely versatile. You can play spells Pathfinder, you can do bows, crossbows, literally anything in Pathfinder is now viable because of this. You can go to any relevant node on the entire skill tree, and also you're going to have pretty unique builds by, able to grab keystones from over here and then also keystones on the other side of the tree, which pretty much no other build can do in the game. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be pretty exciting and makes Pathfinder a really overall strong class. But of course, there's more. It has another new ascendancy point, which is after this Path Seeker, that allows you to choose increased damage, increased global defense, or increased cost efficiency over the 5 strength, dex, or intelligence that you would get on a small node. Obviously, that's also quite strong. 5% global defense is definitely way better than 5 attributes. Global defense is 5% evasion, energy, shield, and armor. So obviously for like a hybrid class, which Pathfinder can be, it is quite strong. And a big thing about Pathfinder is that you can now reach 120% movement speed while sprinting. And of course, you need to knock down, like I said. But yeah, you get 50% base movement speed from sprint. You get 25% for the new soul core. You can double that with the essence on the boots. So the essence that we currently use in our boots with 100% increased effect of socketed items, that will double the soul core effect. And you can get 20% increased movement speed from the skill tree. So you can get points right here. And these give you 20% increased movement speed while sprinting. And you can also increase evasion as well if you want to take this. It's probably not that bad. Yeah, in total, you're looking at 120% increased movement speed while sprinting, and you cannot be knocked down. So this is going to be very, very strong for certain amount of farms. I think farms where you want to just like do the map as fast as possible. So if you want to farm and do temple, you gotta do as many maps you can per an hour. So Pathfinder could be really good for farming temples, as you gotta do 5 maps for 1 temple. Or if you're like a ritual farmer, ritual farm, you just want to do the rituals, kill the map boss, and leave, right? Every map has a map boss now. You don't have to kill all the rare monsters if you're not juicing it. So yeah, I think while you can't attack while sprinting, there's definitely certain forms out there where you don't really want to kill the mobs and you don't need to attack while sprinting. So yeah, this is just very, very, very strong. The potential to have 120% MS while sprinting and you just cannot be knocked down. You're just gonna be zooming through maps when you want to be. And then of course, like I said, you also just get the insane travel nodes and you're able to start from any single class. It's just gonna make Pathfinder all around just a really solid build. I'm not too sure like on a first build type of deal, because early on it kind of like lacks power from the Ascendancy, and Deadeye is really, really strong for power early on, but you can league start Deadeye and then swap to Pathfinder with no issue, right? But yeah, Pathfinder is definitely one of the biggest winners of the patches for sure. Next is Witchhunter. So the big Witchhunter buff is that Sorcery Ward will now also absorb physical and chaos damage. So it will now absorb every single damage type. Sorcery Ward could already get to like a pretty high numbers if I remember correctly. It was around like 8 to 9k. So if you have an 8 to 9k shield and it can absorb all damage types, yeah, you're gonna be really, really tanky on Witchhunter and probably have like 2 to 3k life on top of that. So I think it's gonna be an extremely strong hardcore class, and Witchhunter is definitely a thing to play if you just want to be tanky now. It's definitely gonna be pretty great in the next patch. Next is kind of unknown, but it did get massively buffed, so I assume it might be pretty decent. That is Sorc Infusions. So once again, kind of unknown if it'll be good, but they massively buffed infusions across the board. So if I just like go here and just type infusions, you can see like how much stuff was actually listed here, right? So we have Stormy River buffed, where you like double the infusions at a 50% chance. You also click them further away. Then you also have stuff where like pretty much every single infusion skill, so every single skill gem that used infusion also got pretty good damage buffs, like anywhere from like 20 to 40% more damage. So yeah, infusions just got buffed across the board. and they also got buffed in the skill tree as well. We don't know the skill tree changes yet though. So yeah, there's a good chance that infusions are going to be at least decent next patch. They were quite bad last patch, but like I said, they buffed them across the board. So, you know, maybe surely this time they actually will be worth playing. Another biggest winner is going to be the Rhoa. I went over this in my last video, but to explain again, with the massive reduction and straight up removal of sources of reduced MS penalty while using the skill, Rhoa becomes a massive winner. It becomes the only way to achieve 100% MS penalty reduction. So if you want to attack while moving at full speed, Rhoa is going to be the only way to do it in the game. You are not going to do it on the passive tree anymore because it is being nerfed. They're actually straight up changing the boot rune entirely. Before you get MS reduction penalty in your boots, now it's just deflection rating. And they're also removing the chest that gives you 20% MS reduction penalty. Yeah. And then on the skill tree itself, at least what their wording they said here, passives that grant reduced movement speed penalty from using skills while moving on the passive tree had their values lowered. More passives on the tree now grant that stat to make up for some of this. I think this last line is very, very important. Some of this. This pretty much means, yeah, there's no way we're getting even close to what we were getting on last patch on the skill tree. Not only that, it'll take more point investment and it's going to be more spread out on the skill tree. So yeah, this is definitely means it's massively nerfed. I'm kind of expecting anywhere from like 50 to 60% reduction in the next patch, which means Rhoa, yeah, is a massive winner this patch, as it will be the only way to get 100% movement speed reduction penalty. Another buff, and I think this might become quite a bit of a meta chest, at least for like the warrior side of the skill tree, is this item right here, Couture of Crimson. So what this currently does is that you get life leech can overflow maximum life, but you get a massive penalty of 25% reduced maximum life. In a new patch, this 25% reduce is going to 15% increase, which is massive because, you know, as you know in PoE, there's very, very few sources of increased maximum life. So we're just doing some basic math. If you had no percent increased life last patch, going to this patch, this chest effectively went from 112% HP with overflow to 172% HP with overflow. That is quite a massive buff to this chest. That just makes you way more tanky. So effectively, when you equip this chest, as long as you have the life leech, you can get 70% more effective life, which is, like I said, it's a really, really massive buff. Now, of course, the downside is the base of this chest is quite weak, but obviously increasing your effective hit pool by 70% is quite strong. Now, a lot of builds can use this, but you do have to be a build that can, you know, consistently life leech. So usually warriors are the biggest contenders for this, but other builds can also life leech as well. And last but not least, but I think another big winner is going to be Titan this patch, specifically because of Hulk form. So if you don't know what Hulk form is, if you haven't played Titan before, it's definitely one of the best ascendancy nodes in the entire game. You get a 50% increased effect of small passive skills. So why is Titan getting a butt? Because Druid is coming into the game. And because Druid's coming to the game, there's going to be like 120 new passive skills all in the Druid area. And Titan is right next to the Druid. So that gives you a massive potential, at least as a Titan, to get a lot more power that was not there last patch. So yeah, I think because of Hulk form, Titan might see a lot more play this patch. It might actually even be like the best shapeshifting ascendancy, because although shapeshifting nodes on the skill tree are going to get a 50% increase from Titan himself. So yeah, I think Titan this patch is going to be a lot stronger, whether you play maces or whether you play maybe crossbows or whether you play shapeshifting, whatever. It's definitely got like a big buff this patch, because yeah, adding 120 new passive skill trees right next to Titan is, no matter what, going to be a buff in some form or way. Yeah, that's about it for the video. I just want to make a quick video that wasn't just a patch notes TLDR, going over some like massive winners of this patch, some stuff you can look forward to and plan for yourself. Of course, I'll have more videos out on the way, but yeah, that's about it.